So now we move from tea back to wine, from the United States, a state-of-the-art book, one of the gems this year. So from the United States, A Year in the Vineyard by Sophie Menin and Bob Chaplin. We are lucky to have Sophie Menin here today. I don't know if she's here. So you'll see this book is something completely different than what we usually see in the wine books that are published every year, because it's more on the land than the final bottle, the land, the light, and the work of those who cultivate the vines. So thank you so much. It's an art book, but it's a tribute to all the people that work on the ground to produce wine. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you. A Year in the Vineyard is a tribute to the cycle of the vine, from winter pruning to leaves capturing the energy of the late autumn sun. The narrative is spun through vignettes about activity in the vineyards around the globe. The book honors seasonal rhythms and rituals without glossing over potential risks, such as hail threatening to pierce acres of nascent Chardonnay, or wildfire smoke encroaching upon mature Cabernet Sauvignon. Change the photo. Thank you. We refer to winemakers as vigneron, the French word for wine grower. The name underscores the foundational role that tending the vineyard plays in winemaking. Far from being mechanistic, vineyard work involves being attentive and adaptive to the interplay of weather, climate, aspect, and soil, while holding an aesthetic vision for the character of the wine to be produced come harvest. We have not attempted to catalog all possible vineyard activities or feature every region or even depict an actual vintage. Instead, we capture gestures, steps in a dance with the natural world, providing an experiential understanding of the axiom, wine is made in the vineyard, and of the notion that fine wines are achieved in tandem with nature, not through triumph over the elements. In recent years, could we change the slide, please? Thank you. In recent years, the question of how wine is made in the vineyard has evolved from conversations about traditions and aesthetics to a dynamic rethinking of the relationship between the vineyard and its surroundings. Oh, fantastic, thank you. To a dynamic rethinking of the vineyard and its surroundings. Existential ecological questions have forced wine growers of all stripes to reflect upon how to best preserve their heritage while adapting to a rapidly changing climate. In writing this book, we found vigneron knitting science, ancient wisdom, and hard-earned knowledge of the workings of their vineyards into practices rooted in the regenerative properties of nature. Whether speaking with the steward of a historic estate in Piedmont or a natural winemaker forging a new path in Burgenland, we witnessed a broad movement towards harnessing the potential for trees, cover crops, and fungal networks to nourish and protect vineyards while controlling the ground temperature. We learned how adaptations in pruning, trellising, and water usage bring efficiencies to energy production. We saw the vineyards of Bordeaux begin to resemble English gardens and discovered how a flock of 3,000 sheep could support large-scale biodynamic farming. The filmmaker Jonathan Nossiter notes that the root of the word culture comes from the Latin cultura, which means working or cultivating the land. It was not until the French Revolution that to culture began to be used as a metaphor for efforts towards refinement, and not until the 20th century that a culture began to refer to a civilization. Wine growing is unique in that it encompasses all three usages. Through agriculture, wine growers pursue refinement as they engage in an active dialogue with their local heritage, reinterpreting and rediscovering their region's culture and traditions as they mark time with vintages preserved in bottles to be opened and shared. Just as wines evolve over time, so do cultures, especially as they respond to the challenges of their era. Upon witnessing the industrialization of farming, in 1924, the Austrian philosopher Rudolf Steiner outlined the foundational principles of biodynamics and advanced the idea that farms should be holistic systems modeled after living organisms and capable of creating and maintaining their own health and vitality. Steiner's teachings remain highly influential, and we sought to show what this looks like in practice, from dynamizing horn manure and spraying it on the vineyards to stimulate growth, to conceiving of the rising and falling of nutrient-rich sap in a vine as a microtide, and therefore pruning by the cycle of the moon to refine the vine's vitality. The modern environmental movement can be traced back to the 1962 publication of Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, which laid bare the devastation pesticides had wrought on biodiversity, planetary, and human health. It also gave rise to the farm-to-table movement in food and wine. In the United States, this introduced a cadre of thought leaders, including Alice Waters and Kermit Lynch, who found their muse for a better way of living in Lucienne and Loulou Peyraud of Domaine Tempier in Bandol, France. Alice Waters says, like them, we try to live close to the earth, treat it with respect, and look first to the garden and vineyard for inspiration. Today, a new avant-garde is making a compelling case for the idea that simply swapping organic inputs for chemicals while maintaining a conventional agricultural model is insufficient in the face of the current climate emergency. These wine growers advocate for a new paradigm that minimizes the role of the human hand in viticulture. They strive to cultivate resilience in their vineyards through the support of a biodiverse environment with eco-corridors, no-till farming, and natural predators for invasive insects. Their ideas often echo the teachings of Masanobu Fukuoka, the pioneering Japanese farmer and philosopher who introduced the idea of cultivating crops by becoming more intimate with the intersection of nature and agriculture and learning what steps are better left out. Through these practices, fine wine growers around the globe have seen their vineyards grow more efficient and resilient. They have also observed how naturally resilient vineyards can concentrate the vine's energy on producing fruit that yields wines of profound clarity. The changes don't always manifest quickly. Vineyards are more like steamships than tugboats. They take time to turn. But Vignerons are accustomed to the idea that the full benefit of their activities will be experienced years down the road. They also know that the road can be breathtaking in the presence of birds and butterflies and richly textured soil. It has been a privilege to document the ongoing evolution of viticulture in A Year in the Vineyard. I am particularly thankful to my co-author, Bob Chaplin, for the book's visual presentation. Its fusing of text, photography, and paintings is informed by his experience as an artist working in mixed media, and by his garden installations that investigate the dichotomy between cultivation and non-cultivation, and between nature and man's attempt to tame the natural world, as with his natural parterre pictured here on the grounds of the Hillstead Museum in Connecticut. I could not think of a more fitting context to explore the vine's journey. From dormancy to new life, from budburst to flowering, from the emergence of nascent grapes marking the shift in the vine's energy from vegetative growth to fruit production, to the moment when all you can do is wait for the berries to mature, to the transition from grapes to wine that begins with the harvest, to the considerations of past, present, and future that accompany winter pruning, to the use of farm animals to turn the soil and sow seeds for cover crops as the vines go dormant. I will leave you with the words of Ted Lemon, the wine grower at Literai in Sebastopol, California, who is replacing a grove of redwoods near a river that runs through his estate, redwoods cleared by an earlier steward of the property. He says, "Our long-term goal with the redwoods is to transform this riparian ecosystem in a way that brings more biodiversity and moisture, even in times of drought. We know we cannot reproduce the planet of the 1700s. That world is long gone. We must generate a new way of living, and to do this, we must generate a new way of farming." Thank you to the Contreau family for inviting me here today, and a hearty thank you to all the wine growers who are using the special role of viticulture in agriculture to forge a new way forward. Thank you.